Dalje sam htio da saveznicima muslimana, pre svega Amerikancima, pokažem da smo mi superiorni i da ćemo da skršimo njihovu vojnu moć.
The place he chose was the most important of the Muslim enclaves in eastern Bosnia, Gorazde. Like Srebrenica, it had been designated a UN safe area.
I was woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning on the 5th of April and told that tanks had attacked into the town of Gorazde, that the town was in flames.
The report was exaggerated, but Serb shells were landing in the town. General Rose decided no military action was required.
The Security Council resolution requires us to deter attacks against safe areas. Now, deterring is not the same as defending or protecting.
The senior military officers were haunted by the fact that it was very unclear what would happen after an initial airstrike.
When two Serb tanks reached the town itself, General Rose judged the time had come for deterrence.
I got the target on my nose.
Yeah, what are you aiming at, sir?
I'm at it right in his tent.
We have bomb splash.
The first airstrike in NATO history hit a tent, the local Serb command post. The Serbs were not deterred for long. Their commander, General Mladic, retaliated by surrounding 150 UN personnel on his territory. They became his hostages.
He raged on the telephone for 20 minutes. He was threatening to not allow any single member of UNPROFOR to leave his territory alive.
It brought home to us the limits and the difficulties of using air power when you had such exposed forces on the ground.
The UN sent a high-level delegation to negotiate for the release of their hostages with the Bosnian Serbs.
Sastanak je već bio završen i mi smo se pripremali za ručak i uzeli smo aperitiv.
Just after the salad, as it were, we got an urgent message saying that General Rose was trying to get through.
Hello, Mr. Akashi. Michael, I'm here.
A desperate General Rose had to use an open radio to reach his superiors. He told them that while they had been supping with the Bosnian Serb leaders, his troops in Gorazde were being fired on by Serb gunners.
The situation has deteriorated very rapidly while you've been in the meeting. They're firing on us on our guys. We need air support now, over.
We embarked on one of the most surreal experiences of my UN peacekeeping career.
Tamo je na jednom kraju vojni komandant UNPROFOR-a, na drugom kraju vojni komandant Srba, a politički vođa i Srba i UNPROFOR-a je bio tu, sa dve mape, sa dva telefona.
How about Dr. Khan ordering immediate ceasefire? Sir, I don't think that by the time the message gets to the units on the ground, they will all be either dead or captured, over.
We ourselves were in the room with the soldier holding on to walkie-talkie, in which essentially the UN commander was thinking of calling in planes to bomb the people whom Mr. Karadzic was just talking to.
Ja sam onda bio veoma ljut i rekao sam, Mladiću, morate da mi kažete istinu.
General Mladic told his leader that his guns were targeting the town and not UN positions. If UN soldiers were being shelled, it was their own fault.
Onda sam bio veoma energičan da Rose kaže istinu. I posle izvršnog vremena Akashi je došao veoma pošteno i rekao, da, zaista vi ste u pravu.
The UN had no choice but to call off the airstrike. They sent a helicopter to pick up one dying British soldier. But the Serb offensive continued. That night, the Bosnian government summoned Mr. Akashi and General Rose to explain themselves.
What if they attack now again? The chance that they did all day. I mean, you understand our position, because we've been saying this to you in General Rhodes since 2 weeks now. I'm sorry, but this is... No, I mean, you are right. You know, it has become a laughable matter.
I tada su ti neki primitivci oko Gorazda, dakle iz redova te srpske vojske, shvatili da oni mogu jednostavno izaći na kraj sa NATO-om, da im niko ne može ništa i tako dalje.
The Americans were determined to reassert their credibility.
By shelling a hospital, shelling the UN headquarters, taking United Nations hostages when we have never been involved in the war against them, when all we did was to do what we said we would do all along, which is if they threatened our people, we would use air power. They are the complete aggressors and wrongdoers.
President Clinton demanded NATO strike immediately.
I did receive high-level calls clamoring for a war to be waged against the Bosnian Serb side.
Yes. On April 20th, Prime Minister and I were alarmed. There were reports that, which were exaggerated, that we were alone and opposing what was being proposed for NATO.
The Americans forced through an ultimatum, giving the Bosnian Serbs just 12 hours to pull back.
We don't just go and take out a tank that's been striking the town. We're going to be able to attack a wide target set. The point is to give the message that enough is enough.
Only one man was willing to continue negotiations with the Serbs, the UN Special Envoy, Yasushi Akashi.
There was no way that Akashi was going to be stopped from going back into discussions with President Milosevic and the Bosnian Serbs. He felt only he was going to be able to avert an action which would push the peacekeeping mission over the edge.
In the Adriatic, 200 NATO planes were armed and waiting. In Belgrade, the special envoy emerged with Milosevic and Karadzic to announce another UN-brokered ceasefire. For 2 weeks, the Serbs had defied the UN and NATO. They had learnt not to fear the international community.
Это генерал Mladić.
Mi smo tako srećni dočekali trupe Ujedinjenih nacija i na kraju smo konstatovali da je 10.000 Sarajlija, civila, poginulo ovdje u prisustvu trupa Ujedinjenih nacija. Kakva ironija.
You are now under the protection of the UN forces.